This week we're going to read the second portion in the book of Exodus. It's called Parashat Vaeira. And Moses and Aaron go to Pharaoh to ask for the release of the Jewish people, that they should be able to leave, they shouldn't be in servitude anymore. Pharaoh says, "Who's this God? How do I know that I should let the Jewish people go?" So Aaron takes his staff. It's a solid piece of wood, that his walking staff, his stick, and he throws it down to the ground and it turns into a snake. But the other magicians and the other people in Pharaoh's court can also make sticks turn into snakes. However, Aaron's snake turns back into a stick, and it consumes all the other snakes that are there. I learned something about the stick turning into a snake, turning back into a stick. That the stick is a metaphor, that it represents God. It represents straight and truth and solidity and something foundational. It's hard and it's what we need to hold on to endure all of the sufferings that the Jewish people go to. We need to hold on to God. But when we let go of the stick, it turns into a snake. And the snake is something unpredictable, something that slithers and whines, and something that we're a little bit fearful of. We don't know what it's going to do. We don't know what's going to happen to it, but it's not something that we feel comfortable necessarily around. Aaron grabs hold of that snake. It turns back into the stick. It turns back into the rock. Sometimes God is referred to as our rock, something solid, something foundational, something that we need to hold on to through all of our difficulties throughout history. There's a Rabbi Nachman saying that says, have you looked at the sky today? Have you looked up? Have you looked beyond? Have you looked for God? Have you connected yourself? Connect yourself to God. How do we do that? So I was at the Holocaust Museum yesterday, and there's an exhibit that is a mosaic of photographs that were taken in Auschwitz by a photographer who went back after the war, and he took pictures of the sky that the inmates would see if they were sitting in their barracks or lying in their barracks or in their barracks. They would look up at the sky and they would see these images. This was the sky of Auschwitz. Looking up, looking beyond, trying to connect to the transcendent, trying to have that relationship. Last week we talked about God saying, "I'm going to be with you for all eternity. I'm going to be with you in Egypt, and I'm going to be with you in all the exiles and all the sufferings that are going to happen throughout the generations, throughout the history of the Jewish people. I, God, will be with you." But now it's like, are we holding on to God? Are we holding on to God when times are tough, when it's hard for us? Are we holding on to God? And how do we hold on to God? What's our relationship to God? Are we angry with God? Are we crying to God? Are we hopeful about what's going to be? What's our connection to God? And perhaps that's what I'd like to suggest we think about. How do we hold on to the stick that represents God and truth? Is it through our prayer? Is it through our good deeds? Is it through our mitzvot? Is it through our trying to be godlike and bringing justice and goodness into the world?